good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And if you're watching the replay, you're still in one of those time periods. So thank you for joining today. We appreciate it. I am Jeffrey Ullman. I'm the Director of Member and Partner Engagement at Tech Hub. We also have Nadia Volkova on, who is the Associate Coordinator, Community and Events. Will be your host and co-host for this morning. So thank you again for coming. A couple of housekeeping details. We are recording the event for posterity and to post on YouTube. So for any reason you don't want to be recorded, which is fine, you might want to turn your camera off. Speaking of YouTube, speaking of Zoom, if you're not familiar with Zoom, in the top right, you should see a speaker view. You might want to set your Zoom for that. We want to make this as interactive as possible. So thank you again for attending. And if you have any questions, go ahead and enter them in chat. And Nadia and I will monitor the chat. We'll probably hold them towards the end, but go ahead and enter them as you have them. So enough of the administrivia. I'd like to tell you a little about Tech Hub if you're not familiar with us. So we are a nonprofit based here in South Florida. And we have 4 core pillars that we run the organization by. Brand, trying to build and grow the brand of South Florida as a tech hub. We do have a focus on startups as well as larger companies. We have a good mix of companies. We also focus on increasing the talent pipeline. Most of you probably are aware there is an extreme shortage of tech talent, really globally. So we try to help that grow the pipeline by helping underserved communities get more interested in STEM. And a large part of what we do is support the local community and the community worldwide. And that's why we kind of, one of the reasons why we do these lunch and learns. We do support all of South Florida, Miami-Dade County, Broward County, Palm Beach County, and now Martin County. So I think that's enough of me. I'm going to turn it over to Vitali and let him do an intro, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Hello, everybody. My name is Vitali. So actually, I'm head of innovation in mobile in the company called LeverX. And today I would like to speak about the extended reality. So maybe I will switch to the screen sharing. So please let me know if you can see it.
We can.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, yeah, I just would like to start with intro slides. So I'm, as mentioned, Vitali, head of mobile and innovation, and actually I'm former iOS engineer and data scientist. So you might find some Apple flavor in my presentation because that is like the products I'm mostly working with. And then I switched to management and currently mostly consulting our clients and managing technical team, engineering team. And a few words about our company to give you more context of what we are doing, what is our experience. So the company LeverX actually consists of 2 brands, LeverX, which is focused on SAP solution, like consulting, implementation, configuration, and Emerline, which is non-SAP related teams that are helping small, medium business to solve IT problems in non-SAP area. So an interesting thing about our company, our headquarters just moved to Miami, so we become closer to the hub. So we operate in like 10 countries and 14 offices, and currently more than 1,600 employees over the world. Okay, and the topic of our webinar today is the history and the future of extended reality. And what I would like to talk about is first start from definition of extended reality. There are a lot of terms around like augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality. So we'll talk about it. Then we switch to a history of augmented and mixed reality, starting from 2000 till now, and walk through some major software and hardware releases, and also have few demos on a real device. And also we have web AR demos that you will be able to play on your devices. After that, we will switch to Apple Vision Pro device that was just recently announced. And then trying to understand the trends, how AR, MR, and VR evolved during the time. And we will try to predict the future. Again, the one interesting thing about the future, it's and prediction of the future, it's never right? But we will try to do our best. All right, so let's start from the first part. What is extended reality? Actually, extended reality consists of three parts: augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual. And talking about augmented reality, this is a actually mixed of virtual object and real environment. But those realities, virtual and real, it doesn't support interaction between them. So, for example, you have an object, it's placed somewhere, for example, in our case on the table, but you cannot move it by your hands, for example. That is like pure augmented reality. We place something and show it to a user. If we enhance the augmented reality, allow user interaction, then it becomes mixed reality. So mixed reality still has virtual objects in the real environment, but it allows interaction. So, for example, this screenshot was done from HoloLens second generation. Is Microsoft augmented reality headset, and it shows 3D objects, and you can move it by your hands and literally take it and put in another part of the room, so you can interact with it. That is like the mixed reality, more advanced version of augmented reality. And virtual reality is something that's completely disconnected from our environment. And this is like example of Meta Quest headset. So when user see only virtual reality in the headset, it's not connected with some like user surrounding. And today we'll talk more about augmented reality and mixed reality, because it's a little bit more complicated. I would say it has two realities. And as we see at the end of the presentation, that probably in the future, we will have one type of reality, extended reality, that actually mixed everything in one type of reality. So let's actually start from the thing, three things which are needed to make AR and mixed reality work. And when we go through each example, we will always return to these three topics. So the first one, in order to make it work, is user tracking or localization. So when you have two reality, real and virtual, you need to stick them together. So if you place an object in one place and make two steps towards it, you need to be sure that in virtual reality, it moves towards you, like two steps. So user tracking is something that is really important, and user localization is really important. The second part is rendering. And rendering, when you just take virtual object and render it. So it's all about having like shadow, it's all about light, it's all about just making look like a real object. And the last part is scene understanding. It's about ability of the device to understand the walls, the floor, any objects in the reality, like human, animals, so it can adjust virtual reality to it. So this is like three steps: user tracking, rendering, scene understanding. Then we'll talk about it for each particular case. All right, let's start from the very beginning. So I suggested to start from 2000. And the first like remarkable project that was released was AR Quake. So for those who are like remember the Quake series, it's like 3D shooter. And the goal of this project was actually it was like a research project of the University like of South Australia. And the company Wearable Computer Labs built it. So it was like a backpack with hardware and with a GPS sensor. So the user was able to walk outside and play this game. And localization tracking was done by GPS. As you know, the GPS is not very accurate in terms of position. So it's default GPS will give you about 10 meters accuracy outside. But it was using some advanced techniques around GPS, and it retained half a meter accuracy. So, because of that, all objects were floating a little bit in front of user. But anyway, it was like great achievement in terms of AR. So it has some scene understanding, so understand building in order to make like those monsters to hide behind the buildings. But the rendering was done by Quake engine, and the good, and maybe is a reason why they take the Quake game is because it was open source in those years already, so they can just take this code and modify it and make it like work. However, there were several challenges. One of them is like user tracking and the accuracy of half a meter. It's like wasn't too enough, I would say, as the object were floating, and overall performance. So that's all this hardware you need to wear in the backpack. And it wasn't like top game those days. But anyway, it's like a really remarkable release in AR sphere. And the next example that I would like to highlight is AR that Nokia actually provide on the market. But what was interesting is actually it was running on the mobile devices, and it was using so-called anchors. So the anchor is some objects that can solution recognize and stick virtual reality to it. So for example, today we'll see some demo with like anchors like that. It's like coffee beans. It also can be an anchor, or like the first page of the manual. So it also can be an anchor. In that case, it was some like squares. So what it does actually, it's plays a tennis court over this anchor, and the user can hit the ball with the device itself. So it used library called AR Toolkit in order to render everything, and there were no scene understanding. So it just detects the anchor and play. Again, those days, the performance of mobile phones wasn't too high. So, and depending on the phone model, Nokia model, it was from 3 to 7 frames per second. So it's really low, as you can see. So that was the major challenge, but actually it was one of the first app on the mobile devices. Let's move to the hardware and just make a step in 10 years. This is a Google Glass release, and I have those devices like in front of me. So it was a really interesting thing that the device was really small, right? So it's really small. It's easy to wear, but I wouldn't call it like AR device to be honest, because it do not have user tracking and do not have scene understanding. Is I would say it's like additional display in front of you. So with resolution, it was 640 by 360, I guess, pixels. And it contains of a camera display, and this is, maybe it's not, maybe I can show it. So it has a semi-transparent mirror here, so that it's allow the lights from the outside pass and also mix it with some data from the display. So it's mixed together and it looks like augmented reality. So it allows user to check messages like weather, and it's the interaction was done through this site. So it suggests some gestures like swipe, like from the back to front, from up to down, tapping. Yeah, it's even now the design looks great and it looks really small and like innovative. So, but it wasn't closed by Google, and the application that supported was removed from the Play Market in App Store in 2020. But that was a great first attempt to make a wearable device, and we see later that the more advanced devices will appear. And for example, HoloLens. So the HoloLens is first released in 2016, and then the second generation was in 2019. I'm mostly familiar with the second version, so we've built some prototypes for that. What's interesting about that? Tracking. So as a previous like AR app, it's support anchors, like 2D anchors and also 3D anchors. So for example, for the enterprise, you as a plant engineer would like to make a maintenance for the machine, it can recognize the 3D part of the machine and show some instruction on top of it. So like augmented, show the instructions. That was like a really powerful thing. And the second thing that is really powerful is visual tracking. So it has 4 cameras only just for tracking the user head, the device position. So if you place a 3D object in front of user, it just rigidly fixed in one place. So it's a really big step compared to the mobile phones where we have only one camera, or compared to like GPS as we saw before. So it's really really robust technique. So the rendering was done by Windows operational system holographic. They also support Unreal Engine. So it's really advanced. So the scene understanding is also allowed to understand like hands, gesture, planes, walls. So it's really advanced in this area. And about challenges, what's it's at least to my mind. So the first one was weight. Maybe it's because of my like neck, but really after using for half an hour, I start feeling the pain in my neck, because it's not too heavy, maybe like 600 grams, but after you wear it for like half an hour, you just start to feel it. So that is like one challenge, and I guess that is like the possible improvement for the devices to make it lighter and lighter in order to allow users to wear it for a long time. And the second challenge, this is like a view angle. In the first generation, it was even smaller, but currently it's slightly okay. So it looks like you have a virtual laptop in front of you, so maybe even wider. But it doesn't allow you to have a full immersion picture, right? In augmented reality. But that is, and we see later that other providers make it wider and wider to make it as wide as possible for a user. So as I mentioned, this is device and Microsoft positioning as a enterprise device. So it's not like for consumers, for end users, but more for the companies to improve their processes, for example, in users training, or it's also have a native tool to build an instruction. So for example, you might place a QR code on the machine and then using one headset, build an instructions, what to do, how to perform maintenance, how to like replace any filters in the machine, etc. So it's more about like supporting engineers on the like manufacturing plant. So And let's switch to the software side. So regarding the software, the 2016, maybe it was like the last year when building AR app was really challenging. The next year, everything will change. But those days, in order to build apps, you need to know not only how to build mobile apps, but you know to have a lot of computer vision knowledges. Let's take an example of like few apps that were released those days. So the first one, it's really famous, Pokemon Go. In 2016, it has 232 millions of active users during the year. And just to remind you what it was about. So you have a map. It actually was based on a real map, but it was in style of Pokemon. So you can find any Pokemon that appeared around you, and you need to physically go there in order to catch them. So this is a screen how you can catch the Pokemon. And it was about moving around, finding those Pokemons. And the tracking was done by GPS, but in that case, it's not so important whether this Pokemon appeared in this place or like few meters left, right. So it doesn't make a big sense. So user can anyway can catch the Pokemon. And another type of applications that was released those days was about like face masks. One of the company, Masquerade, actually built a technique that allow to apply the mask, to wear the mask in the real time and record the video. The key point that it become available in real time because that was very important to build a really good video. And so I know the development process that was done in those companies those days, and they mentioned, well, the biggest challenge was to make those computer vision algorithms work fast on those phones, because they do not have any support from like Apple or Google platforms. So they need to write it right from the beginning in order to have a great results. So the tracking was done by face anchors, but actually it was coded from scratch. The rendering was done by iOS and Android platform. It was super advanced face detection, is like scene understanding. And the challenges, maybe the biggest challenges and a biggest competitive advantage for them was it's not really easy to build those AR app, because you need to write almost everything from scratch, and its computer vision is completely different from mobile development. So, and I would like to show not a real demo, but the example of the apps that we built those days. We actually built a smart coffee machine, we call it. So we put a sensors on the coffee machines that actually counts the number of cups that it was preparing during like different period of times. And we would like to add a nice feature in augmented reality, show it's actually on top of the machine. So we decided to use anchor technology. So we take this picture, it's like coffee beans, and actually any picture, any image that is relatively complex in terms of its like structure can be used. So we use third-party tool called Vuforia. Actually, this company currently doing like augmented reality for enterprise and like SDK, so it's allow you to make AR apps faster. So you just upload these images, set the dimension of these images, and use the SDK in the mobile app. So when your mobile app see this image, it's just understands that that is a plane, and we feel free to draw anything you would like to, and we just draw this animation using OpenGL rendering. So, but again, even here you see we are not writing the code to handle all this computer vision technique. We were relying on third-party tool, and the next year everything has changed. So in 2017 and 2018. Apple and Google released the SDK that actually allow users to focus on building the app, not on the writing computer vision algorithm. So it's called Apple AR Kit and AR Core from Google. It was responsible for tracking and scene understanding. So it's detect user position, and you as a developer don't need to worry about it. So you always have a user position in the real world, and you can apply it in virtual world. And it has also two separate 3D engines that actually do all magic, how to take a 3D object and make it looks like it's real in the mobile app. Just a summary about the tracking. It supports two-dimensional anchors like this one, and three-dimensional anchors. So you can take any object. It can be like any part of the machine. So it will be like an anchor. When the mobile device see it, it show 3D object on top of it. So it helps with rendering. It has a lot of scene understanding features like hands, faces, human's body, walls, floor. Again, not from the very first version, but currently it's allow you to focus again on what to do, but not how to do. And the big advantages of all of both these platforms, Apple and Android, and these frameworks, that all computer vision is working out of the box. You don't need to worry about it, and it's working as fast as possible on this particular device. But maybe like enough theory, I would like to show some demos. And the first demo, this is our application called GoDog. We build an application for dog owners, which allows users to teach their dog different like commands. And one of the decisions while we were building this product was, what if we not record a real video, but we make a 3D objects of a dog, of an owner, and make all those video like in 3D. The big advantages of it was, if we need to add a new lesson or add any changes, we don't need to record it again. So don't need to, because record something with a dog, it's not easy. So it always have like a dog always has its own plans, right? So it's really hard. So that is why we're thinking about, let's make it in 3D. And when we build it in 3D, we start thinking, let's do it in AR. So it was super easy, thanks to like SDKs that we just discussed. So if you have it, you can do it. Let's switch to the mobile device. So this is like a lesson called Dog's Name. So it's explain how to teach like smaller dog to recognize the name. And there is like a small button in AR. So when I open it, so it starts detecting the surface. So I can like place it on the floor, tap on it, and I can see everything is happening in front of me. So, and as you can see, it's pretty good fixed in the reality. So it's not floating, moving. That is because I'm currently using the one of the latest generation of the like iPhone. But previously, when we just start doing it in 2020, it was not so perfect. So it's evolved during the time. But interesting thing about this AR, it looks nice, like it has a wow effect, but we always measure all features by analytics. And to be honest, we see that a lot of users actually open it, play with it once, and that is it. Because one of the disadvantages of even disadvantages of AR and this part is that it requires an extra step for users. So user need to find a surface, he needs this session, and then just walk around it. It's much better so to show this 3D video. It's like a YouTube-like video, right? So you don't need to worry about it. And users are lazy, right? So they don't want to stand up, find the better place to see these animations. And the previously, as I mentioned, the challenge was that there is like 3D objects floating. It's currently is fine on the latest models, but those days we see these problems. But it was really a big step for the software industry, is that we don't need to worry about all this complex stuff. We have 3D models, and it was enough for us to add this augmented reality in like a few days. So it was a really easy feature. That was our own product, but I would like to show you another demo of the SDK usage. One of the clients who actually works with water boilers, so they were looking for like how they can innovate from this technology, from AR, and we built a solution who actually allow the engineers, in first case, take the 3D object of any water heater, then see how it's like built inside. So it can be disassembled in front of the user, adding any like additional information on top of it. Yeah, let me show it to you. So just a second, let me switch to the mobile phone. Yeah, so here it's appeared on top of the like manual first page, and I can run like full animation here. So I can see what's going on inside. So when this is decomposed, it's go out, so I can see what is inside, can add any additional information on top of it. But to be honest, it has one problem. So when we present it to the customer, so they mentioned that it's great, it has like a wow effect, but it's much more easier for an engineer just open it as an ordinary 3D object, not to worry about this manual, etc. And finally, we built another product that allow one technical user to call to another technical user, open this machine, and start actually talking about it and highlighting some parts, so they can discuss technical topics, working like completely remotely. And that is like how this project evolved from this AR base to 3D base. So again, it was easy for us to build. The biggest challenge was that, again, it's require extra step for users to set up this AR session. The object those days was not like standing on the same place all the time, and the convenience of usage. So finally, we switched to 3D, so we avoid using AR here. And but talking with the customer, actually, we have agreed and figured out that it makes sense to use those anchors on the real machines, where being in front of the machine makes sense actually for augmented reality. So it shows instructions, what to do next, how to do maintenance. Otherwise, it makes sense to switch to 3D only. Well, and let me jump to the next demo. So this is like web AR technology. It's appeared in 2020. So the one disadvantages of AR previously was that you need to install the application, right, on your mobile phone in order to play it. And installing the application, it's not a fast project. And as we mentioned, users are lazy. They don't want to spend their time like waiting when the app is like finished installation, yeah, unless there is like a purpose of using this app multiple times. And web AR technology allow users actually to visit a link or scan QR code, open the web page in browser, and see the augmented reality just working out of the box. So I will show you a short demo and then allow you to play with it with your devices. Okay, let me switch to mobile device. So it's loading. At this moment, it's actually downloading the 3D model. So it's downloaded the globe. Let me zoom out a little bit. So it contains like our offices of our company. And actually, as you can see, it's like drop the shadow. It was placed on the table, and user can move it on the table. And additionally, we have like another demo of logo. Let me show you. It's more fun because it's actually detect wall. Currently, it's detect one wall, and I can move it on another wall. You can see how it switched to another wall. Oh, so it's shown in this way. So it's perform some so-called scene understanding, and you can like take a picture of it. So yeah, that's pretty great technology when you need to show AR quickly, maybe on like any events, offline events, so that you don't need to force users to install something. That is why web AR is really like a great solution for some applications. So track and rendering, everything is done by web AR SDK. So it has some planes, walls, floor understanding. The main feature, no need to install any app, and the development is really fast. So you just need to have this. Oh, sorry, it's not a typo. This is like animated logo. It should be like Florida, South Florida. So you don't need really to spend a lot of time. The front-end developer can do it in hours. So, and now I would like you to place with those demo. Feel free to take your mobile phones and scan. The left side is a globe, the right side is a logo. And depending on your phones, you might have different like user experience. For Google Chrome and Android devices, it even more features because it's like has a better support. For iOS, it's and Safari, mobile Safari, it has less features, but it has a nice interaction with the walls, especially on the logo. Yeah, so I will just stop for a few moments. So feel free to play with it, and you also can like take a picture with you. So if you tap on the screen at the bottom, you will see this take a picture. So you can put Tech Hub logo on your wall and just share it in the social media.
So I'm currently doing it, and on my phone it says continue to move iPhone. So I'm like continuing to move it. And is there like any specific movement, or I just like move it, right?
Well, I'm just move it around a little bit, so it just can understand the surface. So it ideally not to have a pure wall like tables right in front of you. So just give some objects to capture, and it should work. And I'm wondering if anybody else experienced this issue.
Oh no, it's not an issue. I think I got it. It's working, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Wow. Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, great. So again, it's like really fast to develop, and yes, it doesn't have all features of native mobile app. So, but again, if you need to make something fast for any offline events, when user sees a QR code, just scan it. So it's like a perfect solution. So let's jump next. So that's it in terms of like history, I would say. And I would like to talk about Apple Vision Pro device that was recently announced during the Apple Worldwide Developer Conference, WWDC this year. And there are like a couple of great things about it. So first of all, as you can see, they move out the battery out and just make it lighter. But anyway, it's not very light device. And talking about like major feature of it, about the tracking, how it's positioned the user. So they have 4 cameras, a LiDAR. This is the camera that actually, for each pixel, it understands the distance to it, not the color, but the distance. It have 5 sensors, and it has for rendering like even separate chips. They develop it in order to accumulate all data and make all this animation really smooth. The scene understanding is we do not have a lot of information about it, but according to the videos and the materials that we saw, it will really recognize like people, like objects. I'm not talking about like some simple geometries like walls, floor, etc. So it's pretty like advanced system of scene understanding. And a few interesting features. The first one is eyesight. So as you can see here, when you're using this device and somebody start talking to you, just standing in front of you, it show actually on the external display the avatar of the user. It's not like your like real like video, but it's like your avatar, and it's capture emotion from your eyes and show it in the same way. So this is like pretty advanced, and it's like built in order to make it really like applicable for end user, for consumers. So it's not just you're sitting without interaction with other people, but it's allow you not to put it off when somebody comes to you. So this is like one of the interesting feature. They has also optic ID, but it's not like a huge innovation in the market. Some other devices already have it. So it's analyze your eyes, and it's like not face ID, but I would call it eye ID. So it has really great displays, the biggest available on the market right now, 23 million pixels for both eyes in total, and the target audience consumers. So it was announced beginning of the next year it will become available on the market. Really last week it became available for developer company to make a request for developer purpose. So Apple will send it to test software. And let's look to the history. So actually, I've missed a couple of like hardware and software releases. So I haven't mentioned Magic Leap or Oculus Rift. Magic Leap, Oculus Rift, and like Meta Quest Pro. It's hardware devices. Magic Leap is like AR kit for enterprise purposes. Oculus Rift is started from like video. Virtual reality, and then Meta acquired it, and it's become Meta Quest Pro. In 2022, they released device that actually also mixed reality that is captured from camera with virtual reality. So it's something in the middle between virtual reality and augmented reality. So the trends, what we saw during the last like 23 years, in terms of devices, it's moving from mobile devices to wearables, because mobile devices has only like, I would say, one camera. Like there are a lot of them, but they are placed in the almost same position. But in wearables, you have ability to make stereo cameras. It has a distance between them. That is a great for all these computer vision techniques. And we see that last year, even 1 year, there is like merging of virtual reality and augmented reality. So Meta Quest Pro and Apple Vision Pro build a virtual reality device, but it's actually capture the environment from cameras and show it to you. So it's like you can switch between virtual augmented reality, and this is really something new. So the tracking, we were talking about tracking from 2000, where it was like GPS, to more and more complex system where we have multiple cameras that perform visual inertial odometry and anchors as well. So we saw the examples when we just show an anchor, and mobile app just immediately show the 3D objects on top of it. The rendering is become more complex when 3D engines evolves, and the scene understanding. We do not have any like scene understanding before, but during this year, the hardware performance increased a lot, and that's allowed to launch more complex neural networks that actually perform scene understanding. It's understand people, human bodies, parts, faces. Again, a lot of features are possible to capture and build more sophisticated scenarios on top of it. And observing those trends, we can at least try to predict the future. So for the devices, that's like my personal belief that everything goes to the wearable devices. So currently they're like still too heavy. Even the new Apple device that will be released, it will weight about half a kilo. So it's not something that is like suitable to wear every day or like everywhere. I guess when it comes with the size and the weight of original Google Glass, it will we can talk about like really a lot of users that can wear it every day. The tracking, user tracking, even now, even during the last 3 years, we observe that for mobile phones where we have only one camera, the problems that was previously when the objects were not fixed in one place, it's almost gone. On the last models, it's pretty rigidly fixed in one place, and that's a great achievement. So in the future, we assume it will work even better. And also, there is like a visual GPS techniques that will allow you to positioning in the big cities where GPS is actually not working well. It's analyze your environment visually and can locate people, localize it really with a high accuracy. That's allow a new market of applications. So you can show augmented reality on top of the buildings and show it really accurate in terms of location. So for the rendering, again, the 3D engines are evolving. So we assume that virtual objects in the future will look like a real object. So user won't be able to distinguish where is a virtual object, where is a real object. And for the scene understanding, we assume that we will have full scene understanding, not only like walls, like tables, but also the properties of these objects. So if there is a water, for example, or if there is like a sofa, you can throw virtual object, so it will bounce off it corresponding to its like properties. So yeah, this is actually like our attempt to predict the future based on the trends that we saw. That's it regarding the like main part of the presentation. I would like to thank you for your time, and it would be great if you have if you can ask any questions. So I would be more than happy to answer.
Vitali, that was amazing. Really enjoyed it. I've got one or two questions, but I'll let anyone else go. Anybody else? Nadia, we can just let them ask it directly. Anybody have any questions they want to ask Vitali?
If nobody
Yeah,
has,
I'll sure.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Vitali, when you're talking about the face filters and such, I think in 2016, were you referring to Luxury app that got acquired by Snap? Is that who you're working with back then?
Yeah. Actually, no, it was app called Masquerade, and it was acquired by Facebook. So I guess at the same time, a few startups appeared and they were acquired by different companies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I guess the idea was pretty similar, and it was really challenging to build the algorithms that will work fast on the mobile phones. You can see it's like iPhone maybe 6. It was.
Yeah, I guess it's the nature of competition. It seems like everything on this timeline on top is in pairs, right? So I guess that's the Facebook Masquerade versus Snap.
Yeah.
Luxury. Like fast forward now to today, right? What do you see as the competitive landscape now?
So you mean what is the competition right now, right? In which part?
I guess just I mean, from the startup point of view,
Mhm.
you know, like obviously we're not going to build a multi-billion-dollar headset, but you know, we can be the app developers, I guess, or the tools providers. So what's a good, like, I mean, obviously people are talking about generative AI for mixed reality and things like that, but what's your opinion? And great presentation, by the way.
Yeah, great.
A lot of interesting tidbits I didn't know about.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So to my mind, if yeah, of course, today there is like a lot of news about generative AI. So, and I guess all startups are usually following the trends because it's like following trends, following investments, right? But if we talking about augmented reality, like mixed reality, I guess so. Apple and like Google currently working on like visual, like GPS. So it's like wrong name, but I saw it in a few places like visual GPS, meaning that it can you in a big city you can get a really great location services by visually analyzing the buildings, and you can really show like augmented reality here. So you can, as a like development company, you can place a building that will looks like a real buildings, and you can allow people to walk around it. Or you can show advertisement for some stores in the building, so you can do better indoor navigation. And I see that like big players like Apple and Google start building those SDKs, like they take all this complexity of calculation and give you an instrument, and it's up to startup to think about an idea. And I guess what's really important right now to see these emerging technologies and like review the market that seems to be busy and already occupied by other apps, and with new techniques it might solve a problem better. It might solve it cheaper, right? So I would focus, for example, for now, Apple Vision Pro is like a new device with a new possibilities. And I know that the company actually who built, the team who built Masquerade, they were focused on some applications for like in health, in sleep area, how to sleep well. And they would like to switch, for example, for the Vision Pro, because they see this like a beginning of a huge market of wearable devices. So I would, as a startup, I would try to seek in this area, and generative AI, of course. So this is like a really, really big area.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Great question, Praveen. Any other questions?
Yeah, Vitali, great presentation. I learned a ton, and personally, I think XR is going to be a huge part of every individual's lives, every business lives,
Right.
down the line. It's just a matter of time. Now, I'm interested to hear from you what you think one of the next biggest use cases will be that doesn't exist today, but maybe in 3 years, 5 years time will become a really pervasive use case.
Yeah, about the thank you for the question. That the question I ask myself multiple times because that's
Absolutely. I'm definitely asking you to somewhat predict the future here, but just wondering where you're placing your bets within, and I know it's a broad question, but where are you placing your bets within the world of XR?
Yeah, so actually I mostly interested in, I think that it makes sense to actually or build this outdoor mixed reality. So, and I've built a few apps like my pet projects previously, when the techniques were not enough to make the whole buildings and make it, place it in some like coordinates. So I was searching in this like consumer-based apps, and maybe it's like one of the like crazy idea is just to have a like advertisements outside. So currently we have advertisement in like websites, in mobile apps, right? But maybe in the future, when this device become more popular, so people start using it, we will have like a virtual ad boards somewhere, and it will be like a new area of advertisements. It's like will be outdoor virtual mixed reality advertisements. So, and we will pay for ads not in like mobile apps or in the website, but by somewhere outside, so that user can see actually wearing these glasses. So this is like one of the ideas, like crazy idea, but maybe it's something we will see in the future.
I think it will definitely be a part of our future, whether it's welcomed by the everyday person, that's up for debate. But the great thing about what you're mentioning is that billboards, some advertisements now, they're static and not changing. Some are, but in this sense, it can change and do so in, of course, many different ways. So thank you. Great answer.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question.
Great question, Zach. We've gone an hour. Vitali, can you stay on if we have more questions, or do you need to drop?
Sure, I'm fine to stay.
Okay. Let's take some more questions.
Yeah, I see that.
Ted,
yeah.
you can go ahead. Well, while we wait for him, I'll ask my question.
I think Ted is muted.
Ted is muted, right?
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry about that. So yeah, thank you for presentation, Vitali. So I have a question. So I want to hear about your opinion. Like, which one do you think it will be bigger in the future? Like the web AR or the hardware based, like Apple, like Vision Pro or the Meta Quest or like other VR AR? Like, which one do you think will be bigger?
Got it. So actually, thank you. This is a great point, and actually, it's also related to the like topic native application versus like hybrid application that are web-based mobile application. It's like either for my iOS engineer, I always say that the future is about like native development and native AR. But I would say that it will be always a use case for web AR and always a use case for wearable devices and mobile, because it will be always a few steps ahead of what is possible in the browser. First, new features, new AR features appeared on the platform, and when, for example, like both Google and Apple has relatively equal features, they can appear in the web AR. So I would say that web AR will work great in the future. So you don't need to install something, even in wearable devices. So you can see QR code and it shows you immediately something. But it always will be like innovative products that will run on native devices, because it's the most innovative starts from the native platforms and then goes to cross-platform, go to the web support, etc. So we will always have space for some native application of these technologies.
I see. Yeah. So like, yeah, the challenge I got like from web VR, I did some development for the web VR, but like it's the graphic might be like not satisfying, like as for now, but you think like in the future the graphic will get better?
Yeah, definitely, because I can rely on the history of like hybrid mobile applications. So it's appeared like a few years ago, and it was like web browser based. And the first application, so I remember one application we released in 2020, and it was a day when it works fine on the latest mobile phones like Google and Apple mobile devices. But we still have some devices where it was not so smooth. But now, like in 3 years, it's hard to find the devices where it works not so fast. So it should be like pretty old device. And when the mobile devices become more and more powerful, these like the limit of applications, this hybrid technology, web technologies will grow as well. So currently, for our customers who would like, for example, build a simple mobile application where we have like just viewing a list of items, editing it. So something really simple. It makes sense to go to the cross-platform, which is close to web development. And the same for AR. So I assume that the quality of web AR will grow, and the more powerful devices we will have, the better it will work. But we just need to wait.
I see. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So I have a question. The Apple device, Vitali. Well, let me back up. You've talked, some of your use cases are more like this one here. It's kind of an enterprise use case
Right.
for engineers, repairs, maintenance, which is a great use case. But that's more geared towards enterprises, not really consumers.
Right.
The Apple device, I watched the announcement and I couldn't really tell if, maybe because they don't know, I couldn't tell if they were positioning it as a consumer device, an enterprise device, or both, or maybe it's just too early and they're going to introduce it and see what the market does. What do you think of that? What is it, both or one or what?
I guess at least for now, it's more like consumer based, right? So even these eyesight features that you can interact with somebody that will talk to you. So with enterprise devices, to be honest, they don't care. So this is an enterprise device you need to wear, right? And what happens with Microsoft HoloLens at the beginning, it also was like innovative device, but then they shift their focus to the enterprise. So they like test this market and they decided, let's go to the enterprise. The same with Magic Leap. They developed, I remember the Magic Leap company, they started maybe in 2010 or so, and they have a website. It's like you have a great picture where there is like an ocean and the like a big fish jumping out of it, and it's look unreal. And it was like a hidden mode startup, and it looks like consumer-based, consumer-oriented device, but currently they are switched to enterprise. Maybe they try to find their market fit, but I personally believe that Apple will focus on consumer market because it's still like relatively empty. Virtual reality is definitely dominates there, but that is a first attempt to go there because how they advertise it. You can watch movies, you can have meetings, you can surf in the internet. So it's like consumer oriented. Again, it's hard to predict, but at least the first generation, it's like consumer oriented.
Well, I agree with you, but then, and maybe it'll come down when it hits the market. I think it's got a list price now of $4,000, $39.95, I think.
Yeah, 3.5, right?
That just seems too expensive to me as a consumer device, except very high-end users.
Exactly, at how they position it. So if you would like to buy a new like big TV with a decent audio system, so you will spend more. So that is what they mention and how they try to advertise it. But again, this is hopefully it will become cheaper, but that's price fine for enterprise, to be honest, because Microsoft HoloLens second generation cost around $3,000+. And it's not like a problem for the company where they will use it for training, right?
Obviously I'm not Apple, but that's a hard sell, I think, on the consumer side. We'll see. We should have this presentation 6 months, a year from now, 2 years, and go back and look at your predictions and see how it works. I think we should do that. That would be great. Vitali, this has really been one of the best. They're all good. All our customers do wonderful lunch and learns, but this has really been one of the more interesting ones, I think. Anyway, any other questions?
Vitali, do you ever hang out in South Florida, or are you?
Yeah, I should be there. So in like 2 months, I guess. In
cool.
October, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could do an in-person tech hub. Yeah, like a lot of even following up, with Jeff's question. Let's see what happens in 2 months. Things are moving quick.
Yeah.
6 months.
In fact, if you do show up, I can try to invite some of the Apple GPU engineers they actually live in Orlando.
Oh,
Well,
that's great.
Praveen, I don't mean to. I love that idea, Praveen, and Nadi and I will talk about it. What are you with a startup, Praveen, or you're your own working for a company? What's your situation?
Yeah, all of the above. I actually host the official Unity and Unreal Engine user groups in South Florida. So, and also Magic Leap, but we haven't done one of those in a while.
I really like, great idea. Nadi and I will talk about how we can maybe coordinate that when Vitali is in town. So assuming you're okay with that, Vitali, I'd like to see maybe if we can work that out. I think that'd be fascinating.
Sure. Definitely.
I want to be sensitive to everybody's time. Any other questions? One thing, Vitali, Nadia normally sends out a follow-on email. If you're okay with it, I guess to put your contact info. So if anybody wants to reach out to you directly. But this has been great. Again, want to be sensitive to everybody's time. Any other questions before we close?
I think this was awesome. So yeah, we'll Vitali, whenever you're ready, you can send over your slides and we're happy to, share it with the guests. But thank you so much. We look forward to
Thank you so much.
meeting to South Florida.
Actually, Nadia, I had one thing I forgot to mention in my intro. Any of the attendees, either live or in the webinar, if you're not currently a member of Tech Hub and you have interest, please reach out to me and we'll talk about becoming potential members. But I want to thank you too, Vitali. This has been great. Thank you to LeverX.
Thank you so much.
And if there's nothing else, Nadia, I think we can end the lunch and learn. Thank you again.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.